So we're supposed to get a new Mortal Kombat movie sometime, which at this point feels like more of a threat than a promise, considering that the original Mortal Kombat movie is one of those, yeah, it holds up 90s movies where, yeah, it does, but mainly because at the time, even if you were like a child, you kind of knew that it was both just fine, but also as good as anyone was gonna do. This direct-to-video animated feature, on the other hand, is I guess supposed to originally tide us over back when Hollywood production hadn't ground to a halt because of the global pandemic and the live-action version would have only been a few months away. You know, maybe they would have like included a trailer or first look footage on the Blu-ray or done some kind of timed streaming thing. Instead, now it serves a different purpose as, by default, the closest thing to a new movie I can review this week. So yeah, here we go. On the off chance that you're watching a review of an animated Mortal Kombat movie on a gaming site and don't know this, Mortal Kombat is a tournament fighting game. So as you might surmise, there's basically two ways to make it into a movie. Just make Enter the Dragon again, an ensemble fighting contest movie, but with the gore and magic monster stuff that's the selling point of the games put in, or zero in on exactly one of the characters and just do their story, hopefully one of the interesting ones. This one starts out looking like it's going to do the second one of those, which is a good idea, and then decides to also do the first one, which is less of a good idea. The good idea part is a more or less decent ninja revenge arc centered on Scorpion and his basic backstory and throughline from the games. At short version, Scorpion is the yellow ninja. He does chains and fire stuff. He's from hell. He's come back to get revenge on Sub-Zero, the blue ninja, who does ice stuff and killed his family and also him. They both happen to be on hand as participants in Mortal Kombat, which is an oddly disorganized but also very organized martial arts competition between Earth and another evil dimension to determine the fate of good versus evil and whatever. And Scorpion is the kind of don't care, just let me kill the blue guy, chaotic neutral guy. You know, it's dumb, but also in the way you kind of want a ninja movie to be. So yeah, alright. The animation isn't really anything to write home about, but it's perfectly serviceable as well. It has that Warner Animation DTV thing that's happening I'm not a fan of, where they cram too many different styles into one movie just based on the sequence, and there isn't really a coherent look to anything, so the main aesthetic is solid, but then they'll flip over and do an, okay, now we're doing the bendy pencil line proportions, production IG thing, or 3D elements or speed lines randomly because that looks cool right now, and there's not a lot of consistency, and as much fun as the cranked up gore is, it's kind of awkward and off-putting that this has the exact same look and, you know, about the same level of depth, as we're being honest, as a Saturday morning cartoon but with blood and cursing. So it's kind of like if the Thundercats had started saying fuck all the time but everything else had stayed at exactly the same level. But, you know, again, it's Mortal Kombat, and aggressively violent but aggressively juvenile is pretty much exactly the sweet spot level of dumb arcade time waster fun where Mortal Kombat was born and has always worked best. And as long as it sticks with that and the Scorpions part of the story, it's actually pretty damn near a perfect representation of exactly that and works pretty well. Though granted, just as with the games, everything it does becomes rapidly less interesting the further and more complicated it veers away from the simple yellow fire ninja needs to kill blue ice ninja for ninja reasons setup that never really needed improving anyway. And unfortunately, the movie also decides that it needs to have a condensed version of the rest of Mortal Kombat Part 1 playing out as the B story, and that we need to keep cutting away to it, and that it doesn't need to meaningfully diverge from the same damn version of that you've either watched or played through like 5 or 6 times by now if you're any kind of fan of Mortal Kombat, and if you're not, why are you watching this? I mean, you'd think they'd at least change it up and maybe follow different characters than usual, but nope, it's off-brand Bruce Lee, off-brand Van Damme, and off-brand Cynthia Rothrock doing the Enter the Dragon thing, Raiden being Yoda Miyagi, Goro being a red herring, Reptile, Kano, and Baraka being jobbed out, waiting to find out how Jax will lose his arms this time, and all the confusing Quan Chi bullshit nobody can keep track of or care about. Again. Great. But I did enjoy the Scorpion stuff and all the fighting and chopping people up and blood and guts and fatality business. That's pretty much what you pay for. I mean, it's a 6 out of 10 mixed bag of that, but I can't deny otherwise I probably would have loved this when I was 13, so yeah. Alright.